Okay, finally, the last question. This is on electromagnetism. Should be a straightforward question. In fact, I am expecting most of the candidate to get their score from here. So let's take a look at how we approach each of them. So by the way, again, this question is from your homework worksheet. Yeah, on electromagnetism. So you may want to take a look at it and see why. I mean, if you didn't score well for this question, you may want to find out why. Why is it that for a homework question you couldn't score? So anyway, in the first question for part A, I'm actually looking out for the poles of the permanent magnet. And what I gave you as a hint is that this magnet is actually moving towards the left. So first you will need to use your right hand grip rule, and you should position your hand this way with your finger curling. Okay, I yeah, this way. Yeah, so you should be gripping onto the pole like this, so it follows the current this way, and then you will see that there will be a pole here. So if you do the right hand grip rule correctly, the pole for this electromagnet will be like that, and the fact that the magnet is moving to the left means that J must be a north pole and K is a south pole. So this one you need to spell it out, and if you didn't spell it out, then too bad lah. Okay, you'll be marked wrong. So that's how you approach A. Okay, for B, right, I'm actually kind of confused by the candidate's response. So here, right, the question actually wants you to focus how a AC source is able to make a sound. But many of you are answering how sound travel to your ears. So this is a totally different question. If you want to explain how sound travel to our ears, you will have to say something like, oh, it vibrate the air molecules, and the air molecules form compression, refraction, and it travel to our ear as a longitudinal wave. That is if the question is asking you, please explain how sound travel from the speaker to your ear. That is the focus. I mean that if that is the question, then your focus will be, the formation of compression and refraction. But clearly this question, right, is not asking you how sound travel from the speaker to your ear, but rather they want you to focus on how an electrical source, an AC source, can actually make a sound. So that should be your focus. So like I said, always plan first. So what happened is that the first thing you should notice is that this is an AC source. It means what? It means that when it is being turned on, your iron core here will turn into an electromagnet, or you can say induced magnet. And this induced magnet, it is special in a way that the poles over here is not fixed, because your AC source sometimes is plus minus, sometimes is minus plus. So this is what we call an alternating pole. So if you do not have if you have not memorized key terms like that, you will find your answer very lengthy, because you do not have a term that can describe what you have in your mind concisely. So that's why you need to learn all these terms. It's an electromagnet with an alternating pole. So the pole here will alternate between north-south, and then here will be south-north. Whereas for your permanent magnet, it will have a fixed pole. So what happened is that because the pole here is alternating and because the pole here is fixed, what you will get is that you will get the magnet, the permanent magnet, maybe we make it more specific. Your permanent magnet here will attract and it will repel accordingly. Get attracted or get repelled accordingly by the alternating poles of the iron core. So when this magnet are being attracted, and when these magnets are being repelled, what happens is that this cone over here, basically it is a paper cone. It is the paper cone that will vibrate the air molecule, not the magnet. So you need to be very clear on how the different parts of the speaker work together to make a sound. So this cone, because it is attached to the magnet, will vibrate. And when the cone vibrates, that is how the sound is being made. So some of you may be asking, what is the function of the magnet housing? Magnet housing is just a housing to house the magnet. There's no function, that it will not be responsible for producing the sound. So once you have a rough idea on how the different parts work together, you can then put all this together to form an explanation. So it first started off with the alternating pole, right? So you have to tell me that the AC source will turn the iron core into an electromagnet, or you can say it will induce magnetism there with an alternating pole. Then you have to illustrate how this alternating pole will affect the rest of the speaker. So this alternating pole will attract and repel the permanent magnet accordingly. Then after that, the magnet will actually affect the cone, right? So hence, the cone attached to the permanent magnet will vibrate and make a sound in air. Full stop. You don't even need to talk about it will form a series of compression and refraction and all that. All those things, right, is a description on how sound travel from the speaker to your ear, which is an entire different question. So that's why you need to be confident enough to identify that, okay, for this question, that is the focus. I should answer until there, and I shouldn't be, dragging on and wasting time. Okay, for part C, I think it is quite straightforward, but many of you mix the term turn versus coil. Coil, this is a coil. So if you want to add more coil to the core, this is what it means. It add more coil, right? If you want to add more turn, this is what it means. Okay, so the correct answer will be to increase the number of turns in the coil. Okay, in this question, I purposely write a statement like that so that you cannot tell me that you are going to increase the current, increase the voltage and all that. All these are not allowed, right? You are not even allowed to even tell me that I want a stronger permanent magnet. Okay, for part D, it is on practical electricity. So for some of you, you are still not very confident. By the way, this symbol, it is in your syllabus. It is called a push button. So at first I wanted to test you on that, but then my colleagues tell me that it will be too challenging, so I decided not to test you on that. So the first part 1, many of you got it correct. The fuse should be as close to your source as possible. We condone that you draw the fuse inside the speaker, because sometimes there is one more fuse inside the speaker, so it is fine. But in O level, can you remember that your fuse should be as near to the source as possible? Okay,